What is up, everybody? I am so excited to be doing this again, to be back on the podcast, and got some really, really exciting new things that are going to be coming out and are going to be part of the podcast. I'm really excited to share those in the next couple episodes. Don't want to share too much too soon, but going to be a lot of really, really exciting changes. And one of the first and most obvious is I'm on video now. I'm also doing video. Um, and that's going to be for one of the other segments that I'm going to be doing that I'm really, really excited about that I will talk about probably next week in next week's episode. That was the worst timing in the world.
So sorry.
It's okay. Sorry about that. Mo walked in with our baby. They stayed for a few minutes and we chatted about some stuff. So, anyways, I'm really excited. I'm really, really excited for the podcast to be back. And like I said, some things next week that will explain a little bit more um, why I'm doing video now as well, and how I kind of see that going, and just some of the things in the segments and things I'll be doing with that. So today I wanted to, just with this being the first episode back, kind of give some minor updates, and then share some things that I've also been sharing on social media over the last few days. Um, so Mo and I'm not going to get into everything today, but just kind of give you the overview of what's going on, and then I'll, again, in subsequent episodes, I'll dive a little bit deeper into some of these things. But we are moving again. This time we're moving to Utah, and we are actually really excited about it. And it's not something that we thought we were ever going to do, and now it's like our top priority is to get to Utah. So one of the aspects with that has been work and me trying to figure out where I'm going to work, what I'm going to do for work, and I do have an opportunity right now that I'm really excited about, and been very blessed with, to be working with a friend from Marissa's Home Steak, which is awesome. But given my history and my track record, and I mean, right there on the wall, I've coached for better part of the last 12 years plus, um, at different levels, and that's just been a part of me, and the game has always been a part of me, and I've coached other sports. I was on the basketball staff at SVU, and I was on a football staff in Arizona for high school. So coaching has always just been a part of my life. And I had my dad coaching, and I saw that, and I saw him coaching, and I experienced that, and then I played, and then I played until I got hurt, and then I couldn't play anymore. And then I looked into coaching, and Mo and I had a really difficult conversation the other day. And one of the things that I have really liked about living here in Ridgecrest is it's very easy for me to go out on a walk, and we're right next to a path that is really, really long, and I can just go on this walking path. And it gives me time to think and to ponder and to seek out guidance from the Spirit. And this walk I was on made me start thinking about coaching and about opportunities and about the part that coaching has played in my life, and how important that's been, and how stressful that's been, and how big of a part it's truly played. And I started to think about making this move and finding work, and then I started to think about 3 years ago in February. and what was going on. And for me, coaching has never been an either or I haven't been able to split time when I've been coaching. It's been everything that I want to do, and it's affected everything outside of coaching as well. And I don't know why that finally clicked. I don't know what it was that made that make sense. But when I was coaching high school and I was teaching at the same time, my classrooms were put on a back burner. My family was put on a back burner, and everything that I had was going into coaching. And that was high school. Then we went to Lincoln Trail, and I was an assistant, making like I think it was like $15 an hour. Wasn't much. I was an assistant, super part time, but I was working more than full time. I was working overtime all the time, and that was my choice. I was in the office all the time, watching film, watching games, making up training plans, meeting with athletes, meeting with recruits. I was in there all the time. And we had a really odd situation, which I've talked about on social media before, and not on the podcast because I haven't done this for a while. But Marissa was living with her parents when we were at Lincoln Trail because we couldn't find a house. So they were down in Robinson. I was in Robinson. They were down in Bridgeport. And it was 30 to 40 minutes away. But her parents had cats, and I'm super allergic to cats. And so I couldn't stay with them. So I stayed in this little apartment, like right next to the campus. So it was nice because I was able to go to work, and it was like 5 minute walk tops. But once we found a place in Robinson, it was evident how taxing it was going to be. And so that was one of the reasons why we decided for me to leave Lincoln Trail. And we started looking for other jobs and other opportunities, and Cerro Coastal came up and got that job. I was very blessed to get that job and have that opportunity to start that program. And around Christmas break, it again kind of became evident of how taxing it was on me mentally and how split I felt mentally between wanting to do this job and wanting to be a good dad and a good husband and be home. It made me start to think again recently. It made me start to think about when I haven't been coaching. And when we were in Arizona, that was the lowest of the lows for me, was when I wasn't coaching and I was cleaning pools. And I don't think there was anything about cleaning pools that was pushing me into a negative mental space. I think it was the fact that I wasn't coaching and I was putting so much mental strain on that, and wanting to get back to coaching again. That was all I wanted. So I was doing pools and making decent money, and I was home a good amount of hours. But all I could think about was coaching again. And then when we made the decision that I was going to leave Cerro Coastal as well, it's been the same. It hasn't been as intense and as heavy as it was in Arizona, but it's been that similar strain of, well, I got to find another coaching job. Got to find another coaching job. And for years, Marissa and I have frequently talked about, when I'm coaching is when I feel like I'm doing the most good, or I feel the most free, or the most relaxed, or all of those things. And in a lot of ways, I think that's true. But again, the amount of mental tax that has come during an off season has just been unreal. And so those of you who follow me on Instagram or Facebook or Threads or X or TikTok, I did post recently that I'm stepping away from coaching indefinitely, and especially right now, getting ready for another move, and one that we hope really sticks this time. I just can't have that in the back of my mind. And it's, in some ways, since making that decision, it's been relieving because I'm not stressing about looking for a coaching job. Other ways, it's been really depressing. Just full disclosure, you guys know that have listened to the podcast before. I don't hold back, and I'm very open about myself. And yesterday was really, really hard, and I broke down in this chair. I just broke down and just bawled for a good 15-20 minutes. And Mo came out, and she held me, and it's been difficult. It's been really hard. And so yesterday I asked if I could go run some errands, just go to the store. And before I left, I had this thought of, just take your laptop with you. Just go take your laptop. And very rarely has that happened. I've thought about it a few times because I also write books, write stories, and didn't have any plans to do that. And so it was odd to me. But I grabbed my laptop and I started to go to the store, and I missed the turn to the store. And I ended up at a park. And it was a park that had 4 soccer goals on it and a little table off to the side. And I just went and sat down at that table. And I wrote what I call my open letter to football. As someone who has been around the game my entire life, I felt like I needed to get some of these feelings out in a letter. And so I'd like to read that for any of you who haven't seen my post on social media, or maybe you're just listening to the podcast on Spotify. I'd like to read that, and I'll probably share a link as well to that, the actual PDF, if you want to read it yourself. But yeah, so I titled it "A Boy and a Ball: My Open Letter to Football." A bent frame, a net with more rips, tears, and holes than anything else. A semi-pumped ball, cleats with tape around the toe and laces that hardly had enough left to tie them. A pitch that was more dirt than grass, a light breeze, sunshine coming down through the thin clouds, and a boy with a heart and a dream. 30 years. 30 years of dreaming, 30 years of escaping, 30 years of freedom. For 30 years, my heart belonged to a ball. Barefoot, cleats, grass, dirt, indoor, outdoor, day, night, it didn't matter. I gave everything I had to you, and in turn, you gave me an escape. 30 years. The world didn't matter when I was with the ball. The struggles of a kid growing into a teen, turning into a man, nothing mattered when the ball was at my feet. The ball mattered. The ball took all the pain, all the stress, all the worries. The ball took them all away, and it never complained. It never felt. It just was there, always. 30 years. Eventually, just the ball wasn't enough. I wanted to be at the field all the time. The ball and a goal. A goal that represented so much more than simply scoring. It was hard work, dedication, consistency, an endless, relentless struggle of constant personal growth and improvement that never seemed to be enough. never gave satisfaction other than knowing that the growth was occurring. That improvement was happening each and every day. The ball and the goal meant everything. Then they were gone. In an instant, it all changed, and nothing would ever be the same again. But it was. 30 years. For 30 years, the ball has been there for me. For 30 years, the ball hasn't changed. I have. The circumstances around me have. The people in my life have. The relationships, the struggles, the successes, the triumphs, and the failures. They all have changed. But not the ball. 30 years. Today, the ball is different. Today, the ball didn't feel the same for me. Today changes my life. The ball will always be there, and when I need it, I know I can go back to it. But for now, all I can say is thank you. Thank you to this beautiful game. Thank you to a ball. A broken goal, boots with holes and missing studs. Dirt that taught me the value of toughness. A game that is so simple, it's one of the most complicated things in the world. Thank you to the love, the passion, the joy that came because of a ball, because of a dream. I know you'll always be there, and now that's what I need. 30 years. 30 years with a ball. 30 years with a dream. 30 years of passion, of joy. 30 years, and it won't ever be enough. The ball brought me love, beauty, and joy, and I will never be able to thank it enough. So, I'm stepping away from the game. And it is a moment that comes in the career and the life of everyone that's within the game of football. And you never know when it's going to happen. And I hadn't planned on stepping away. I hadn't planned on not being able to find something in this move. And at this point, I'm not even looking for something now in this move. I was reaching out to coaches in Utah and high schools and clubs and a few of the colleges that have programs. I was reaching out to those people and trying to figure out if I could find a job in Utah. And I realized that the number of full-time opportunities that are available are so slim that I wasn't going to get one of those. And that I can't coach part-time. And for those of you on Spotify just listening, there were massive air quotes around that part-time. I just can't do it. When I coach, I get too invested, and other parts of my life, again, get put on the back burner. But I know it needs to happen. I know it has to happen. And I know there are really good things in store for me and my family, and I'm excited for those. I'm really excited for this podcast to be up again. With the intro, some of you that may have listened to the podcast in the past, right? It was always the Saw Dad podcast, and that came from one of Marissa's students who I don't know why. This was 2017, but they got really into the Saw, dude. They did that all the time. And so when I was thinking of a podcast name, that's what kept coming up was Saw Dad. And originally it was Stay at Home Dad, because that's when I started this podcast, was when I was at home and Mo was teaching. And I didn't want to change the name of the podcast, so I just changed the acronym. So now it's Sports and Home. And I'm excited to see where this goes. And again, some of the plans that I have, and uh, the segments that we're going to be introducing into the podcast are going to be really cool and really exciting. And I'm just really excited to share those with you guys. Um, Planning on doing, once a week, and I'm sure I'll miss a week here and there. This is a little podcast. I'm running out of my garage right now, but again, just excited to see where it goes. So for the time being, I just want to say thank you to everyone that I've had the tremendous pleasure to work with as a coach and through my coaching at every level. Um, I can't even begin to name all of you, right? And it wouldn't be fair to even try, because so many of you have touched my life and my family's life in so many ways. So again, I just want to say thank you for that, and for the lessons that you have taught me, and the growth that I've been able to see from all of you and in myself. And I don't know. I might go back to coaching someday. I don't know, but what I do know is that for the time being, and certainly indefinitely at this point, I'm needed. I'm needed by other people who are a little bit closer to me, and I'm happy to do that. I'm so happy to do that. We are so excited about this move to Utah, which is something I never thought I would say out loud. Never thought I would say that out loud, but we are. We're so excited, and the kids are excited. Um, we've pretty much found a place at this point, and we're really excited for that too, because it's got a really big yard. That's going to be great for Cooper, great for the kids, really close to family, and it's just going to be good for us. So thank you all. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you so much. And I will, well, I won't see you, but you'll see me. And I will talk with you guys next week and share some more about what's going on with the podcast and some of those plans. And we will keep going from there.